Welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. Thank you for stopping by. This is brought to you by labmediatv. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and here we go. Remember to follow us on social media at labmediatv. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and we are joined by a phenomenal person. Just a few minutes of speaking with this dental professional. We're blown away by the stories and the experiences, and we can't wait, to share this all with you. We're talking about Mrs. Jenelle Tabakovic out of Indiana, South Bend, Indiana. Jenelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's exciting to have you. When I started reading a little bit about the fact that you are pedigree, it's so exciting to know that you have all these stories and experiences, and I can't wait. How's your day shaping up so far? How's your year shaping up so far?
My year's pretty good. I've been pretty busy at work, and I am excited to be home.
Did you go out of town for the holidays?
No, my mom, stepdad, and brother actually came in for the holidays.
Oh yeah, well that's always pretty exciting for other people to come in rather than you have to pick up the boys.
Yeah, but then you got to clean up after them.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's one there. But that's so exciting to have you on the show here. And so, Jenelle, you are a third generation technician, and you are originally out of New York. Is that correct?
Yep, Buffalo, New York. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
We already got kicked out of playoffs, but never give up.
So, being a third generation dental technician professional, what does that mean to Jenelle?
It means it's in my bones. That's what my mom says.
Wow. And so you're growing up around a family of dental technicians. Your grandfather has a lab when you're a little girl, Rocco Dental. So how did this happen? Were you around his lab, playing around his tools? How did this happen?
Yes. Well, my grandpa, James, he served in the Army, got a Purple Heart, and was awarded the Bronze Star in World War II.
Wow.
He moved from Brooklyn to Buffalo to start a better life for his family. My great-grandparents came through Ellis Island without papers. Mm-hmm. And being Italian and in Brooklyn, it's not a surprise that they were linked with the mafia. Uh-oh. So have some funny stories from my mom from when she was growing up.
Oh, wow.
He borrowed $20 from his brother Nicky and packed up my mom's three oldest brothers and moved to Buffalo, where he then had my Uncle Tony, who is a technician, and my mom, who was a technician. She's a retired ceramist of 25 years. Mm. And I also have another uncle, the oldest, who is a technician and runs his own lab a couple hours away from Buffalo. And he opened up the lab in, I think my mom said 57.
Wow.
And yep. And my uncle Tony and my mom took it over. So I spent my summers and sick days from school eating leftover spaghetti and watching The Price is Right and flipping through dental magazines and drawing mustaches on people when I was bored.
Oh, wow.
She would let me play with her ceramic colors when I got sick of my coloring books. But to tell you the truth, I really didn't care about any of it.
Wow.
Was not interested. I didn't put two and two together that was going to be my future when I grew up.
So when did it really happen? Did it happen while you were in high school or right after high school that you made that transition, or you figured out, you know what, this is it?
It was right after high school. I got a partial scholarship to go to the Art Institute in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
And my mom and dad had a pretty rocky relationship, and I didn't want to leave her, and she didn't really want me to go. We're really close. We've always been close. Shut up, Mom. And so I stayed and partied all summer, and she got sick of me coming home drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning and sleeping until 1. So she said, you're either going to get a job or you're going to pay rent. And I didn't have money to pay rent. So I had to get a job. And both her and my uncle worked at the now closed AllCare at the Central Processing Center. She was already retired ceramist, so she was just doing secretary work, and my uncle was setting cases there, and that's where I started my journey. And it wasn't too long after starting there that I knew that I was pretty good at this, and I enjoyed doing it. And here I am now, 13 years later.
Wow. So you start at AllCare Dental in 2006, as soon as you're out of high school. Now, what was the environment? What was your environment there? What was your experience there when you started?
Well, it was at sometimes a 60+ person operation.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
there was a lot of, and they called it a central processing center, but we were doing everything. All of the AllCare offices, they would send, bite block models, and they were being articulated and set up and waxed and processed. So it was really they were doing everything. It wasn't just a processing center. I started in the processing department doing Success Series injection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was maybe 3 months after doing that, I got really bored and I
Oh.
wanted to switch departments.
Mm-hmm.
So the shipping department, which my mom helped do, would stay after everybody left to get all the cases out and sent to the offices. So I was practicing carving teeth.
Ah.
One of the women who was helping with sending out cases was a waxer. So she drew on the teeth with a marker, and she laid down wax and told me to carve the teeth. So I was just staying after, unpaid, carving teeth.
Wow.
And they started me in the waxing department, and after 2 months, I got promoted to department head of the waxing department, in charge of 11 other people's work. And when you've been doing this for less than 6 months and you're 19 years old and you're I was dubbed the quality control queen, checking 11 other people's work who've been doing this a way longer time than I have. You don't make a lot of friends that way.
Wow.
And yeah, it was not enjoyable for a little while. And I got a whole 14 cents for a raise for being department head.
Oh, wow.
So that was exciting. I was already only barely making more than minimum wage. So I wasn't getting paid enough, and I didn't like all the responsibility when I just wanted to learn as much as I could at that point. So I asked to step down, which they were fine with. I moved over to the finishing department after then, and I did finishing for a while, and then I just liked floating and going to all these different departments, helping out who needed help polishing or breaking out cases, and even sometimes the quality control at the end of the day, checking all the cases to make sure that they were all good. I really enjoyed doing it all.
Wow.
I worked there for about 2 years before I ended my journey there and moved out to Indiana.
Indiana. We're talking about 2009, and now
Yes.
is when you start at Affordable Dental and Dentures. Is this correct?
Yes.
And what is the difference between the last experience and what you experience now?
It was very fast paced. At AllCare, I had an hour to, or faster, or longer to wax up a case. At Affordable, it was same day. And that was before they had a scheduler. So it was walk-ins, first come, first serve. And there's a lot of Amish people out here. So we'd see the bus out front and we know it was going to be a long day.
Wow.
There was 4 of us. Me and another woman took turns who would wax and who would pour models and articulate and process. And then at the end of the day, everybody was finishing and polishing their own cases. And I like polishing too. So sometimes I would volunteer to just polish everybody's cases. And on a busy day where we were staying late, we were doing 40 units same day. It was pretty stressful and it was hot and their air conditioning was bad. And one year we had the roof redone. When the air conditioner was broken, we were taking towels and putting them wet in the freezer and draping them around our neck. It was rough. And that's where I met my husband. We started dating and eventually got married. I got pregnant and I had the opportunity to stay home. I had a rough pregnancy. So for the last 6 months and the whole first year of my son's life, I got to do something a lot of mothers don't get to do and stay home. And I got a little stir crazy having conversations with a human being that could not talk to me back.
Wow. Wow. So when you moved out to Indiana, did you have any family there, any friends, or how was that set up?
I actually moved out here with ex-boyfriend, thought it was going to work, start a new life, and it went downhill really quick, especially when you don't have any friends or family around. So I kicked him to the curb. He moved back to Buffalo, and I stayed working at Affordable because I had a really big crush on a good-looking Bosnian guy. Snagged him up.
All right. That's amazing. So you're moving out to Indiana, looking at things through a particular perspective, and then things begin to shift, but for the best. That's amazing. How long did you stay at Affordable Dental and Dentures?
Almost 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
And there was not any time to learn anything new because it was so fast paced. So there wasn't a lot of time, opportunity to move up. So I knew in my heart this wasn't the place for me.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So when did you make the transition into your next move, and where was this? What'd you do?
I went to a private practice, and they have a lab that was separate from the main dental office, and I really liked it at first. Good pay, great hours, but I was just waxing and having so much drive in me to learn. I always want to learn. I would stay after with my uncle unpaid at AllCare, learning articulations and learning things. He told me, you know, a place can take your dignity, but they can't take what you know. So I was always trying to watch as many technicians as I can. And some advice that he gave me was that even if somebody sucks, there's still something that you can take from them and apply it to what you do. So to watch everybody, just keep your eyes open, soak up everything. So I was always trying to do as much as I can. And working at this private practice, 1 year I did the math. I did 5,538 wax ups in 1 year. And I was doing their permanents. So they were the fancy ones with all the festooning, and I got a little burnt out. And I asked to move to a position that was opening to learn how to set. I was told that I was too good and valuable as a waxer to change departments. So it was a little heartbreaking when you're at somewhere for almost 7 years and you're just stuck, and the love that I had for what I did was not there towards the end. It was quite depressing. I didn't like my job. The environment was really nasty. It just wasn't a good place for me, and I left. I took some months off just to give myself a breather. I needed to like reboot my system because in 7 years, I never got once told I was doing a good job by my boss.
Wow.
So it's a lot to feel like you're not worthy, even though you're giving it your all every day. So I'm happy that I left there because I've never been more in love with what I do than I am now.
Wow. So frustration begins to set in.
Yes.
But 7 years, that's a very long time.
Yep.
What kept you there?
The pay. The pay. That was it. It was good pay. The hours were good. I mean, if my son was sick, I could take the day off. They didn't care. But it was mostly the money and scared of going somewhere else. And most labs around here, there's not that many. They want full techs. So I knew every step but setting teeth. I was never given that opportunity. And when you work a 8-hour day, you know, grinding it, I didn't really have that drive in me anymore to want to work unpaid. I guess I could have tried setting at home. I have a wax pot, but I just didn't have it in me. I didn't care. I didn't want to better myself anymore. I just was kind of depressed with where I was in my career.
So frustration had began to drain the passion.
All of it.
Wow.
I went to the bathroom and cried a lot.
Oh, wow. But you're smiling now. You're very happy now, and you're in a different place. What changed once you decided to take the step to move into another direction? Where did you go? What changed?
Well, my husband left Affordable Dentures not too long after I did. He went to Aspen. He's been with Aspen for over 8 years now. He's been a tech for a total of 18 this summer. So he moved to Aspen, and that's where I applied. And first I was put with, for training, technician who on day one, I was like, this isn't the trainer for me. Like, he was cutting corners. His quality was very poor. If he got acrylic on the teeth, he'd be like, it's just an immediate, you know, and that's not me at all. Like, I am very particular. I take pride in my work and the quality. I worked through pneumonia one time. I was supposed to be home on bed rest, but I went in every day, and I might have left early when I was done with my cases, but I went in every day to get this work done because it's not about you as much as it is about these people who you're changing their lives. And, I asked to be moved with a more experienced trainer, and lucky me, I got to work with my husband.
Wow.
So helped me with my setup training, and he dealt with me. I was a hot mess. I was questioning my whole life as a technician. It was the only step that I had problems with. I would put down a case and I would just look at it, and he could tell I was frustrated. I'm like, okay, I'm going to break out these cases because I just have to walk away. I broke 2 dentures in a row, breaking them out of the stone. I'm like, I need to go walk outside. And he's great. He's cleaned up all my mess, fixed those cases. Baby, it's okay. You got this. He would laugh at me while I'd be so frustrated. He goes, you're one of the best techs I've ever seen. Everybody has problems with setting. It's not just you. But I was really questioning my whole life's decision to be a tech at that point. It was rough.
Wow.
It was rough.
Wow. And so, wow, that's amazing. You got to work with your husband, a phenomenal relationship, gave fruit to great results. So you mentioned something important when you initially started sharing about this. about the whole Aspen process. They were only hiring full techs, but you weren't a full tech, and you weren't even considering that. How did this happen?
Well, originally, Aspen was hiring a position for an office that was an hour away.
Mm.
And they were willing to train if you're willing to take that office. And I didn't really have any other options because most of these labs out here, they just want full techs. They don't want to do any training.
Wow.
And I agreed I was going to take this office that was not only an hour away, but in a different time zone.
Oh, wow.
So on their late day, I would be getting home at almost 10 o'clock. And it's hard when you have two kids, but I was like, I don't have any other options. So they put me in the training program, and I have to say it's a pretty phenomenal program.
Wow.
They have not only the hands-on with your trainer, who they're all certified trainers, the ones that they choose to do the training. They dropped the ball on that first one, though. That's let's just say he's no longer with the company because I have his office currently.
Oh, wow.
Hashtag steal your lab. No shame in my game. And they have the training program also has a whole online system that goes step by step, different ways of doing things, troubleshooting. And even though I knew a lot of these other methods, I watched everything because I wanted to see how they do everything, and it was great. I started in January of last year, started setup training in February, and I graduated out of the training program in August. And in September, I was given my own office, and it's the first time being with Aspen, I get to actually work with patients and see my work in their mouths. And, you know, when a patient cries because they're so happy, it's the first time I get that enjoyment too of like, hey, I made someone cry today in a good way. And it makes you feel really good. You're high-fiving DAs because you made someone cry, and there's really no better feeling. And working directly with doctors, and it's pretty great.
That sounds fantastic. You said something earlier that what dental technician professionals do is change lives. Yet, not every dental technician, not every dental professional has the opportunity to see that result. And as you shared, when you can make somebody cry, it just makes your day, right? That's
And
fantastic.
makes your day, it makes your week. It's pretty great. So
how has your mentality, your perspective changed now that you're working more in an environment where it's a lot more clinical? Let's just say that, because you're working with doctors, the language changes, the let's say the environment, the ambiance is different. How has this changed your perspective of the dental field now?
well, at Aspen, the offices are a one tech lab. So when I'm slammed and busy, there's pretty much nobody there that can help me. So I was pretty mentally tough from all my trials and tribulations from past places, and used to same day cases and rushing them out. The thing for me that's an adjustment is my whole career, I never had to set. So I was never so much worrying about function as I was aesthetics. I was just making my things pretty, my wax ups beautiful, and boom, they're out the door, and I never heard another word about them. And now working directly with doctors and patients, and setting and worrying about, you know, working and balancing and how they are in the mouth, it's a little bit more of a challenge for me. So I'm trying to, you know, read up, watch videos. I'm going to be taking some classes at Lab Day in Chicago. I'm really trying to be able to not only make them look beautiful, but to function properly. I'm one of those techs that you and your past people that you've had on that I never went to school, and I was just taught to make them pretty. So I have the opportunity now to have artistic freedom and be able to work directly with the people who I'm making these for. So it's really important to me now to be able to make the best denture I can. And I'm studying for the CDT. So with Aspen, they'll pay for your exam if you pass it. So that's a little I'm excited. I'm nervous. I hear good things and bad things about the CDT. My uncle was paying for it for a long time and doing it, and he stopped. I don't really see too many technicians that I've dealt with personally getting any more, let's say, money than, people that don't have it. But for me, I want to do it just so I can learn as much as I can. And I really just want to be the best damn tech that Aspen has to offer. Coming to put it on my name tag.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. And so now that you mentioned you have more of that freedom, you've decided to open up your own Instagram page.
You can thank my inspiration, Mackenzie, Tooth Fairy KNZ, for that. I saw her page, and she was the one that inspired me to create my own. And hopefully in Chicago, we'll be able to meet and hang out and have a couple beers.
That's fantastic. Wow. And you did mention that you grew up looking and browsing through the LMT magazine. Yes. This is going to be your first trip to Chicago, correct?
Yeah, for the lab day.
For the lab day. How exciting is that?
It's exciting. Now they have 2 ballrooms, so there's going to be even more to look at. I am really excited to learn during the day and hang out with a lot of these techs that I talk to online at night, and meet up with a bunch of Aspen people and talk tooth and have some drinks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very it's a very particular situation in Chicago, because there are so many people. Sometimes you feel like you can't talk to everybody, which, I mean, it's impossible to. I mean, I know this guy. I've seen this guy. This guy has influenced me, and it's such an amazing thing. The first year I was at Chicago, I was blown away by the amiable spirit of the dental professional, and it totally blew me away. I'm positive that you're going to have a phenomenal first experience. And as you mentioned, yes, this is the first year where they are having that second room, and it's we're all very excited to see how that's going to work out. It's always a phenomenal experience, and there is something that I am looking forward to here, and that's to see your work in the magazine.
How do you know about that?
Huh?
Said, how do you know about that?
Well, I'm excited. I don't know. Nobody has ever told me I have some sort of gift, or the magic ball broke a long time ago. But I am looking forward to seeing your work on the publication and being featured by LMT. Do we know when this is happening? Do we have any?
I do not, but I cannot wait. And I already told my uncle I get his copy because I want a copy at my house, and my copy is going up in a frame in my lab.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna have a copy signed by you as well. That's going to be very, very exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, you got the news today. Way before anybody else knew about it, you knew about it here at the Dental.
I want to know how you knew about it.
Pardon?
I want to know how you knew about it. You got the inside scoop.
I got the inside scoop. Yes, that's my job.
I need to
That is
make the
my
same
job.
connections that you do.
What is your handle on Instagram? How can our followers begin to look at that work, the progression that you're making, the growth that you're experiencing? How can they follow you? Because I already follow you. I'm not missing any of those pictures.
It's at JT Lab Queen. And what I have to say about Instagram and the community that's there, it's along the lines of your other guests. My experience overall with other technicians that I've worked with is nobody really wants to show you what they know. And a lot of places was a harsh environment because if you know what they know, then their job is on the line.
Uh-oh.
And they feel like they'll be not as valuable anymore. So what this Instagram community of techs really did for me was opened my eyes to how beautiful technicians really are, how beautiful they're, not only just their work, but their heart and their want to show people, hey, this is how I do this. You know, you want to see how I do this? Here's the steps how. And I really like training. I did training at AllCare, and I did training at the private practice I worked at. So helping people troubleshoot problems in my direct messages, and always giving somebody the pat on their back when they deserve it, because I know what it's like knowing deep down inside you're doing a good job and nobody telling you. It's a little heartbreaking. So I always make sure that, you know, you don't want to be mean. Being kind is what's important, what this world needs more of. So I'm the first one to, you know, heart somebody's picture. Hey, you're doing a great job, because that could be the first time that that person's told, like, hey, you got this. Don't stress. Because I wish I got that a little more often at my previous job. So it's really just warms my heart and makes me so excited to be a technician and all these new technologies coming out. And it's I'm a little bit tooth obsessed. So, just a little bit. My daughter had a sleepover and I bought canvases, and I'm like, here, you guys can paint me things for my lab. And they all painted me tooth art. So
That's amazing.
I'll be posting them once I hang them all up. They did a really good job.
Oh man, that is amazing. That is awesome.
Hey,
They knew
have to work
exactly
for
what
that
you needed.
pizza.
That's so awesome. So yes, as you mentioned, definitely everything is going digital here in LMT. You will be going to a few of those courses. What is where are you now in terms of your process with digital? I know you're at the beginning, but where are you?
I know absolutely nothing. Representatives from Ivaclare that are actually close to my home in Buffalo reached out to me through Instagram. They want to meet me at Lab Day. Super cool, and made me really excited. So
Yes.
I'll be taking some of their digital seminars, and I really just want to know as much as I can. As far as I know right now, Aspen is dipping their toe. And what I've seen, the things that they're practicing on, they're just not there yet for the quality that we like to put out. So I'm sure as more technology progresses for these just aesthetics and how they look for what we can turn around faster, I'm sure they'll be more incorporated within, you know, the next 5 years. So I want to jump the ball and learn as much as I can before that time comes. So when they ask if anybody knows anything, I can raise my hand and be like, I want to work on some digital stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm also trying to get maybe a colored acrylics thing started. I don't know how far that will go, but I'm just dying to work with colored acrylic because I can make the colored wax, but it only goes that far.
Right. Now, you did say 5 years, but I think it could be less than 5 years because
Well,
they're
for Aspen and their
okay. I see what you mean.
for Aspen, 5 years
Yeah.
for Aspen to maybe start using digital for their lower denture packages or patients that need their cases in the same day. From what I've seen, I'm with them and not implementing it quite yet.
Gotcha. And we continue to see a lot of development. The materials are changing, the way these it's bonding, the way it's curing, everything is changing so fast that we are so excited to see what the next 6 months, 12 months are going to bring about. And we're excited to definitely continue to follow your growth and your development. We are so excited to see you in Chicago. It's going to be a phenomenal one, the best one yet. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we if you're on the podcast, you can go down there and see the links where you can follow Jenelle. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see it here on the screen. You can also see the little what's this called? The little banner, whatever it is here on the screen. We are excited to continuing to hear what you're discovering. We hope to have you back on the show sooner than later, and to hear how everything's going in your lab. And I have one more question.
All right.
Your mom was a ceramist.
Yes.
Yet you are not a ceramist. How in the world did that not happen?
I have no idea. I told you I want to learn it all. So if there's an opportunity for me to do that, then I'm down. I think the amount of frustrations that I had with setting really, like, okay, it might be frustrating at first, but you got this. I am trying to learn as much. I'm really fascinated by ortho, the appliances and how they can bend the wires like that. When I was learning how to bend wires, I had trouble for one tooth, and the precision that they do with, I'm fascinated by all of it. I'm sure my husband gets sick of me talking about teeth when he works in the lab all day and then gets home and he's like, she's not shutting up about work and about, hey, look at this, and hey, look at that. Before I started at Aspen, I had all these questions about setting and what do you do for this and what do you do for that? And he'd be like, okay, one more question, and then we have to go to bed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, you need to stop talking about teeth. Just go to sleep.
Oh, that's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are reminding you, Lab Day LMT Chicago. We can't wait to see you there. And when you see Jenelle, don't forget to say hi, take a selfie, do whatever you need to do.
No pressure.
And let's welcome Jenelle to Chicago with a warm welcome. Although it's always cold outside, it's always a warm, fuzzy feeling when we set foot in that place. Jenelle, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, go like her page, follow her, leave a bunch of constructive messages there. We're excited, and we will be catching you soon on the next time. Jenelle, once again, thank you for coming on the show, and we hope to see you sooner than later.
Thank you for having me.
Till next time, ladies and gentlemen.